Rent a house, maybe an apartment. Thousands of people here in Central Florida do, especially in the shaky economy. And there are things that your landlord might not be telling you, so you really are going to want to know what your rights are. Joining us now live, Orlando real estate attorney Barry Miller. Barry, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
All right, I was reading an article on smartmoney.com about the things your landlord won't tell you. Some of them include the building is in foreclosure, you should complain more. You may have more rights than I do. Again, things your landlord won't tell you. You say know who your landlord is. How do you know that, or how can you find out?
Well, you've got to find out. If it's a single-family home, one of the big problems right now is people are renting out their homes in their foreclosure. So someone would rent their house 4 or 5 months later, get a notice saying that the house is in foreclosure, and then their tenancy may end. What people can do is check the court docket from the clerk of the court's website, see if there is a foreclosure. You can also go to the public records, like in Orange County, go to the Orange County Comptroller's office, and then you can see how much somebody owes on their home. So you can see if they're upside down. We recommend also that you go to your landlord and say, show me that you're current on your mortgage. Show me that you're current on your homeowner's dues.
All right, yeah, because you don't want to be put out, especially if you're paying the rent. Also, if your landlord's not doing what he or she should supposed to, you say there's something called Florida Statute 83. What is that? Well,
Florida Statute 83 governs landlord tenants, and there's certain rights in there. And if your landlord is not complying with the law or with the lease, you can give them what's called a 7-day notice. And that way, put them on notice. They have 7 days to correct the problem, or there could be ramifications against the landlord. You can also contact your local code enforcement office if there is building violations.
Interesting. Okay, so when you're putting them on notice that what? That you're going to try to sue, maybe?
Well, that you will either want to try to terminate the lease agreement or try to force them to fix the problems.
Interesting. Florida Statute 83. Remember that. Also, right. You say before you rent, check out the property, and then there are different ways of doing that to make sure that you're not blamed for something that you didn't do. What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. Inspect the property. You can either get a professional inspector, which most tenants don't do because it costs a couple $100, or what you need to do is just inspect it yourself, have your family inspect it, and put everything in writing. If there's any problems with it, put it in writing, tape it, videotape it, so that way at the end of the term of your lease, they're not going to make a claim on your security deposit.
And you also say suggest that the owner take out a home warranty to make sure the repairs are fixed.
Absolutely. That's a good way for a tenant to make sure things will be fixed. Have them take out one of these home warranties. They only cost like $350. Sometimes you can make a deal and have the tenant pay the first $50 deductible, and that way it covers all your major appliances, electrical, plumbing. I think it's a great deal for landlords, and that way it's good for the tenants.
And Barry, this is pretty topical. Today in Orange County, Patrick McGee was on this story. They busted up a suspected meth lab. Our sources say it came out of one of the rooms in the house that was rented. What rights do landlords have if there's possible criminal activity going on in their home? Do they just call the cops and is that it?
Well, there's more than that. They can call the police for any criminal activity, but also most standard leases say that you've got to abide by the law. And that way, if there is illegal activity, the landlord can terminate the lease.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insight. We always appreciate it. Orlando real estate attorney Barry Miller. Barry, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.